What's up, my Beardos and Weirdos? OneTopic here, and today we're diving into r/confession. In the poll that I took recently, this was another subreddit that was requested, and I said I would cover it. So we're going to dive into a few stories. They're on screen now. At the end of this video, we'll also look at the poll that I took recently regarding what kind of upcoming topics you'd like to see. Let's get started. I punched a girl in the face for kicking me in the balls. When I was 16, at school, hanging out with my friends and a couple of people that were not so much my friends. A couple of girls had a habit of kicking guys in the balls over bullshit, smallest disagreements, mutual insult throwing, or even for fun. I had warned them before that I would someday do something they ain't gonna like if they kept it up. Of course, they had to put that to the test. Gotta see just how much you can abuse people before you give it up. So we were standing in a circle. Apparently I said something she disagreed with. Wasn't even an insult or anything. She feints to kick me in the balls. I tell her again, if she does that, something's gonna happen. She apparently takes it as a challenge and gives me the hardest fusing kick in the balls I've ever received. I collapse, feel like dying, puking, shizzing my pants. I can't breathe. Absolute agony. Some of my friends are concerned, scold her. Some assholes, including her, are laughing their butts off, while I'm trying not to break into tears. I stand up 5 minutes later, feeling worthless. She's still laughing. I get the greatest rush of anger and emotional pain pent up over 2 years of these bitches kicking me and other guys, including some of my friends, in the balls, like we're less than dogs. And before I can think, my fist catapults itself into her ugly, laughing face. She collapses with blood streaming from her nose, wailing like a little bitch, as if she didn't like being put so much pain that she collapses. Weird. Her like-minded friends look like they've seen a ghost, start screaming insults at me in sheer disbelief, and even though I was suspended for 2 weeks and she got no punishment whatsoever, this was the most satisfying, liberating thing I've ever done, and I regret nothing. Got a reputation as a woman beater among some classmates, as if I randomly attack gentle, harmless girls who actually deserve being protected, for the fun of it. But my friends stayed by my side, and no more balls were kicked after that. Would do again. Don't give a fuse that she doesn't have balls. Written like a true r/NiceGuy. Need to be protected? You kind of went off the rails in that story there. As some of my Beardos or even my Weirdos can tell you, there are drastic consequences that can happen if a guy is injured when this happens. Torsion, blood clots, pain, death can happen, sterility, lack of sensitivity. Like there's just like innumerable consequences for this. It's not a funny thing, and it seems like it's too often made a punchline, but whatever. Interesting story. Let me know in the comments below what you think of it. Seems like a bit of fan fiction, but hey, I could be wrong. I lied to my best friend's mom about his death. I just want to preface this by apologizing if this seems rushed, but I've been holding this in for 11 years, and now I just found this subreddit, and I have to get this off my chest. So, my childhood best friend was a guy called Steven. We met in kindergarten and instantly became brothers. We grew up together and never left each other's side. The two of us were both kind of outsiders at school and stuff, but we didn't care. He was the only friend I needed. We both had similar personalities, sense of humor, interests, etc. But we were also bonded by our issues, mainly depression. It first hit me when I was 13, and a few months later he admitted to me he was going through the same thing. Like a lot of sufferers, neither one of us told anyone, except obviously each other, because we didn't want to feel like burdens and we didn't want our families to worry. So, stupidly, when we were 14, we started getting into drugs, mainly pot and pain pills, in order to escape what we were going through. And we did this for 2 years. His mom caught us a few times, only for the pot, but she was a pot smoker too, so we didn't get punished too severely, and she never told my parents. Then after the heat died down, we'd go back to the drugs. Then one night when we were 16, I was staying at his house, and after his mom went to sleep, we started smoking a bit and popping pain pills. It was just like we always did, and after getting nice and numb, I passed out first. I woke up the next day and tried to wake him up to see if he wanted to get any food. He didn't wake up when I spoke to him. When I put my hand on his shoulder to physically wake him, his skin felt cold. I immediately thought the worst and shook him more, but nothing. I tried to check for a pulse, but couldn't feel one. So I reached into my pocket to grab my phone, and I remembered as I grabbed my phone, I also felt a piece of paper, but in my panic, I pretty much didn't notice it. I proceeded to call 000, Australian emergency number. At the hospital, they told me that he was gone, and that they would give me a few minutes, but that I would also answer some questions soon. I went into the bathroom and started crying hysterically. After I managed to pull myself together, I went to grab my phone to call my parents, and again I felt the piece of paper in my pocket. This time I noticed it more clearly. I opened it up and it was a message written by Steven. It didn't take me long to realize that it was a suicide note. I don't want to share the entirety of this note, but the key phrase was, "The drugs don't work anymore. Nothing does. I can't fight this anymore. Please don't give up even though I did. Please keep fighting. Thank you for always being with me. I love you, brother." I genuinely didn't know how to respond. We had talked about the concept of suicide, but we'd never talked about ever considering it as an option. A little later his mom arrived, already in tears. She was at work when she got the call, and she gave me a huge hug, and I felt so guilty because I knew he was depressed. I felt like I should have seen it coming, for gosh sake. And now I'm holding his mom in my arms while she's crying, and she has no idea. We got questioned by some nurses and briefly with local police. Pretty sure it's standard. And when we were asked if he ever talked about suicide or if he seemed depressed or anything like that, I lied and said no, with her standing right next to me. I was feeling so much pain and guilt for not doing anything. I couldn't imagine what his mom would feel if she found out. She didn't even know he was in pain. It would have completely shattered her world. His death was ruled an accidental overdose, and that's what his mom still thinks happened. I'm the only person who knows that Steven killed himself. After a few months, I burned the note so no one could accidentally find it. A few years later, I moved away for work, and although I still have bouts of depression, I've never touched drugs again. Steven's mom has since gotten married and has moved on. As much as someone can, I guess. I still speak to her on the phone every now and then, but I haven't seen her 3 years, and it hurts to look her in the eyes knowing what I know. I know I can never tell her the truth because she has already made peace with Steven's death, and me telling her would cause her so much pain. Even more pain than if I told when it happened. I'm sorry if this was long-winded. This was the first time in over a decade I've spoken about it, and I just had to get everything out. Thank you all for reading. Please take care of yourselves. Life is worth living, even when it doesn't seem that way. OP. That is a tough topic and a tough road to walk. I feel for you, and I feel for your friend. If anyone is feeling anything like this, if anyone's experiencing depression, it is very hard to share, but you have to. You have to reach out, you have to talk to someone. You have to build a support network around you. Even if you don't feel like you're going to be following through with steps like this, it helps having people around you that can support you when you're starting to go down that path. They can help you turn back before you go too far. OP, one day you may want to share that with her. Whether you do or you don't, I don't think the information will help her. I think following your gut instinct there was probably the right idea. Thanks for writing that one, OP. Hope you have better days. When I nannied, I would read the Journal of the Mom. I was only 20 years old, and I nannied for this little baby boy. The mom seemed off. She would sleep the entire time I was there in the mornings, or go on 3-hour runs, or sometimes would just go about her business around the house, completely ignoring me. One time, we both sat in the living room while the baby was sleeping in his room. I was reading a book, studying, and she sat there eating McDonald's and watching her show. She did not say a word to me the entire time. Well, one day when she was out, I snooped around and found her journal. I read the whole thing, then got sad for her. She was so unhappy in her marriage and in life. I ended up working for her for 3 years, and we became close. But that first year was so uncomfortable and awkward. In retrospect, it seems very obvious that she was suffering from post-pregnancy depression. Edit. Thanks everyone for the positive comments. I honestly was not expecting that. I just wanted to confess. For those of you who think I'm a horrible person for doing this, that's okay. It was over 15 years ago, and it still weighs on my mind that I invaded someone's privacy. I felt bad about it then, which is why I tried to repay by helping. But yes, I did invade someone's privacy, and that's not cool. I'm certainly not saying what I did was okay, hence the confession. Also, as a 20-year-old with no concept of hardships of having kids, I didn't understand why she was acting the way she was. I get it now. OP. Yeah, you mentioned that when you were younger you didn't quite have the perspective to put yourself in the shoes of someone else who was going through hardships. And having kids and being unhappy in your relationship can definitely make you feel a little bit cold towards the world. It sounds like after invading someone's privacy, you continue to feel bad about it and draw back on that experience, and that helps inform you going forwards. And as far as invading privacies goes, perhaps reading a journal when you're 20 isn't the worst. So hopefully it's helped you be a better person. And in the end, she ended up making a friend. So maybe it wasn't the worst for her either. Thanks for sharing your experience, OP. Well, let's end this one on a silly one. I poop on my neighbor's doorstep. So back when I was 10, my dad asked me if I wanted to make 20 bucks. I accepted. The catch? I had to poop on our neighbor's doorstep. It was clear that my dad had beef with this woman. She woke in the morning and tried to blame our chihuahua. My dad yelled at her, saying that the poop was bigger than our dog. Impossible. The point is, I don't feel bad. Forever daddy's girl. No. I don't know why. I honestly thought it was going to be the son. Oh, OP, you got me on that one. I don't really have any comments. Maybe don't do this yourself, but hey. Alright, my Beardos and Weirdos, that was r/confession. Our first dive in, and it seems like this is a pretty hard-hitting subreddit. It made me want to go back to in the future, but for now, that's all we've got. I mentioned at the beginning of this video that I'd be touching on the poll that I took earlier today. I wanted to check in and see what everyone was looking for, what types of videos you want to see upcoming, and what kind of topics you want to see covered. It's a little early for me to make a decision, so if you want to see me cover something specific, feel free to leave a comment, or add your vote to the poll. But right now, it looks like the next upcoming video is going to be Nuclear Revenge. Still, I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you want to see me do next. Thanks for joining us in this video. I hope to see you in the next one, where we take it one topic at a time. Roll that outro! Also want to mention I did set up a Patreon. I'm looking at investing in some new equipment. I thought you guys, hey, if you enjoy the channel, maybe you want to support it. And if you don't, that's alright too. But I wanted to give you a look at what it would look like if you did. To my regular fans, thank you so much. Every name on the board here is one of my regular fans. And my super fan, Las Vegas.
Omega fans. 1, 2, 3, your name could be here. Totally original sounding name. Not too many numbers in this name. One I clearly don't know how to pronounce. Another unpronounceable name.
And alright, my Beardos and Weirdos, that was just something fun to whip together. I thought, hey, why not? If you like supporting the channel, that'd be awesome. If you just want to listen in, that's okay too. I'm making these videos for fun. I will be looking at investing in new equipment in the future. It's just taking me a bit of time to set aside that money. So if you want to support that, that'd be awesome. Let me know in the comments below what videos you want to see next. We had some awesome stories today, and I was really happy to be reading them out. The stories are linked in the description, so give those guys a shout out. They're awesome. And hopefully we'll be seeing you in the next video, where we take it one topic at a time.